Today, let's talk about a new movie called Definitely Maybe.
Okay.
Very refreshing, in the sense that when somebody meets a stranger, they do not kill them with a cattle gun.
Absolutely true.
And if the person is of the opposite sex and comely looking,
Yes.
they're very apt to kiss them.
Oh, I love that word, calmly. Do you use that word a lot?
I haven't used it maybe in, let's say, 47 years. That's an estimate. Romantic comedies are almost as formalized as kabuki, Japanese kabuki.
Okay.
They stick to formula. But the simplest description of the formula was said by George Abbott, the great director and producer of plays, almost a century ago. In the first act, you get the boy and girl up in a tree. In the second act, you throw rocks at them. In the third act, you get them out of the tree.
Oh, that's much better than boy meets girl, boy loses girl.
Oh, yeah,
boy
yeah, but
gets
that's
girl.
what George Abbott said.
Yes.
The problem with most romantic comedies, the two people obviously belong together.
Okay.
And so the problem with the writer is how do you keep them apart for 60 minutes to get them together again? But this one, you see, does not
Follow
stick
the
to
formula.
that. This what makes it interesting. The gimmick of the movie and the premise.
Yes.
This guy's divorced. He's just divorced. He's got a 10-year-old daughter who
Yes.
wonders, how did you meet mommy?
Yes.
So he says, what I'll do is I'll tell you the story of my romances. There were 3 different women. One of them is your mother, but I'm giving them all different names.
Yes.
So you won't know which of these 3 women is your mom.
Yes. And we're all surprised.
We're all surprised.
Yes. 3 wonderful actresses, Elizabeth Banks and Isla Fisher and Rachel Weisz.
That little girl,
It's Abigail Breslin, that darling girl from Little Miss Sunshine.
she is terminally cute in this movie. Terminal. The way she lies in bed and throws her arms at him, I kept saying, put that pillow over her head.
She's not since Shirley Temple.
Well, she is like Shirley Temple. She is like Shirley
Shirley
Temple.
Temple, except
I
without-
expect her to start singing on the good ship Lollipop any moment. The hero, who's named the actor, I don't know his name. What is it?
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, well, incidentally, I don't like personally.
No, they're thinking about him being the new Tom Hanks.
They think he'll be a big star. To me, his mouth is too small,
Oh,
which prevents him from being a star in my book.
okay.
You've got to be like Julia Roberts. Big mouth, wide mouth is very important for
He's a
starting.
sweet guy.
Yeah, I'm sure he's sweet.
Okay.
And he's excellent in the part.
Okay.
I felt a pang of jealousy, being old and whatnot, remembering youth. His biggest problem always seems to be just what sensational girl he's going to jump in bed with. They all
Okay.
want to jump in bed with him. That's the only problem he has throughout the movie, really.
He's in the advertising business, but he'd come to New York to work in politics, and you watch him have various careers.
He volunteers for a political campaign,
Yes.
the first Clinton campaign.
That was the most surprising part of the movie, was seeing his disillusionment with Clinton.
What's this? That is the little touch of so-called reality in the movie.
Yes.
They show the Jennifer Flowers thing and all that.
Yes, and then the Monica Lewinsky thing. At the same time, we're watching a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
It's just television carried to a
I think that-
classier extreme,
You could say it's sitcom, but it's on a somewhat higher level.
higher level.
Somewhat higher level.
It was the first movie I've seen since Kramer versus Kramer, which dealt with...
Stop right there. It is the first movie you've seen since Scream?
No, the first movie I've seen with the subject of divorce, right, that dealt with it in a positive way. Does that make sense?
No.
It's very modern.
but
It's
let
a
me make-
modern picture. You know what this sort of reminded me of is When Harry Met Sally.
When Harry Met Sally, it starts with a stated theme. Can you be friends and have sex?
Yes.
One person says, you can be friends and have sex. The other person says, no, you can't. And so therefore you have something for them to act out throughout the story.
Whereas the modern picture is you can not only, you can be friends and not have sex, but you can have sex with a lot of other people and come back and be with the right guy at the end,
But
or the right girl.
But I think it was monogamous throughout the movie. I mean,
They never, but she had boyfriends.
yeah,
and
but
he had girlfriends.
but one at a time.
One at a time.
That's what I meant. No, I don't consider that.
No, it's
philandering.
just no. It's just as being a real geezer. It's different than the way my generation watched movies.
The movie that really started this, what year was it? The Paul Mazursky movie.
Bob and Carol, Ted and Alice.
That was the first movie. Sort of was the icebreaker for this type of thing, where they had grown up, 20-somethings,
Yeah.
going from one to the other, not able to make up their minds,
Yes.
and different relationships. Probably the best romantic comedy opening ever is The Birds of Hitchcock's. No, people don't realize until you see it again. Until the birds come, it's a pure romantic comedy. And the meet cute and everything in the pet store, it's a straight romantic comedy.
You know, I never saw it. I'm too scared.
There's a movie out now called Fool's Gold, which has gotten really horrible notices.
Oh, yes.
An atrocious movie. But the interesting thing is that's an attempt to make a romantic adventure
Yes, well, that was that lovely thing, Romancing the Stone.
But that's another attempt to get a fresh twist on the romantic comedy
It's the
to make it
hardest
a romantic adventure.
Yes.
And that's apt to be, if it's not very well done, really annoying. Well,
I forgot to ask you one thing about that little bit about the lesbian part.
there's a strange little part thrown in there,
Yeah.
I think just to make the movie very with it.
Yeah.
One of these women had a lesbian affair
In college.
which I believe, I don't know if it's still done, but I know that 10 years or so ago you used to read that was considered a rite of passage
Okay.
in the liberated world at girls at fancy colleges,
Yes.
at Bennington and Eastern colleges.
Well, it's from the group.
From the
Remember
group. But it was the thing to do at one period in time, so I'm told, not firsthand
But
experience.
then it's never dealt with. Once you know that piece of information, nothing else happens. I mean,
No,
you
no,
don't
no.
have two women somewhere.
It's just something else to happen in the movie. It's
Yeah.
fun. I mean, I can see
It's
writing.
a very with it movie. You have said that. This is definitely maybe, is not so much maybe, it's real, right, of today. You agree?
Yes, as I say, here I am. I'll be 85 years old next week.
Oh.
So what do I know what's happening this week? I mean, really today.
85 is old.